Hi everyone, and welcome to the recap of my first leg of touring so far this year. I had a really great time and I'd love to share some insight into how things went. With 2024 proving to be such an exciting year for me, I chose to name this year's tour Rise Up, as I feel it's been a bit of a mantra for me of late. At the end of last year, I bid farewell to a bunch of bad habits and things that can definitely be pitfalls for musicians and artists alike. And I'm proud to say I've stuck with it. I'm close to 6 months sober and I haven't smoked a cigarette since New Year's Eve, which if you knew me before then you would be quite worried. But yeah, I'm doing really well. And ever since I made these decisions, I've had a bunch of great things happen for me. So I'm really focused on staying on the straight and narrow and trying to concentrate on being the happiest and healthiest version of myself going forward. So that's why I called the tour Rise Up. Anywho, the tour began 4 weeks ago, and the night before I left I took in one last comforter home, going to see my treasured Crows play at the Adelaide Oval. And the next thing I knew I was on the road. But unlike last year, I wasn't travelling alone. I had my good mate Glenn Carter with me. Quick shout out to Glenn, he completely went out of his way and put his own life on hold to join me on tour and help me. He helped me with everything from pitching in with the driving, lugging, selling merch, packing down. Unbelievable. Really great fella. Thank you so much, mate. Words cannot express how thankful I am for you, and also to your beautiful wife Debbie, who always gives me the full mum treatment whenever I'm staying with you guys. So thank you so much. The things that you do don't go unnoticed. So if you see Glenn or Debbie at one of my gigs, I think they might be at the Gov, buy them a drink because they've earned it. Thank you so much, guys. And then we hit the road from Adelaide, driving through to Hay in New South Wales. That was where we stayed night one. I've said it before and I'll say it again, the Hay Plain sure is desolate. Then day two we drove on from Hay to Sydney, and next thing I knew I was playing my first show at the Great Club in Sydney. I was joined by two of Sydney's most sought-after players in Joel Burton on bass and Gordon Rytmeister on drums. What an amazing experience it was to play with guys like that. Both totally professional and prepared, but also willing to completely let loose. So it was such a great experience. Thank you for joining me, guys. Really great. And so that was our first show there at the Great Club in Marrickville. And then our second show was the next night in Newcastle at the Stag Hunter. Boy, did we have a great night in there. Potentially the show of the tour. That's one room I really cannot wait to come back and play. Then I bid farewell to New South Wales as we headed south into Victoria, and I played a small show like I did last year, just a solo gig at the Lake Tyers Beach Tavern. It's always a highlight of the trip to spend a bit of relaxed time there in Lake Tyers. So the next week held the Victorian shows in Melbourne and Geelong. This time around I was joined by Melbourne native Marcel Yammouni on bass. Marcel's a freak of a musician. He's also a really frightening guitar player as well. He's just amazing. I was joined by him and my great mate Danny Leo on drums, and if you've seen any of the clips from the Gov gig you would have seen him play. He's a monster. So both really good friends of mine, and it was so great to play with them as a unit for the first time. We had a great time. Our first show was at GM Sound in Melbourne, and my friend Sean Close, he took some great photos. He's a really talented photographer. You should check out his Facebook page. He's got some great gig shots. So after that show in Melbourne, the next, I think it was, we'd had a day off and then went on to Geelong on the Saturday. And we played at Pistol Pete's, which is one of my favourite little places to play. It's really unfortunately closing down. So if you're local to Pistol Pete's, make sure you catch one of the upcoming gigs there and grab a feed, because it's such an awesome venue. It's so sad that it's not going to be here forever, but yeah, I was really thankful to play that show there. And I thought we had a really awesome show. That was definitely another highlight gig for me. There's something really special about playing a room that's so small and intimate, and you know everyone's right by you. So yeah, you definitely vibe off everyone in the room. And yeah, no, thank you. We sold that gig out too, so thank you to everyone who came to that. That was a really special night. Then I had some time to put my feet up in Lake Tyers Beach again for a few days before we drove all the way back to Geelong to then get the ferry down to Tasmania. So we got the Spirit of Tasmania ferry into Devonport. There's something fundamentally wrong about driving a car onto a boat. It's a weird feeling. And the cabins weren't massive, neither were the beds. It was a little bit rocky, but we made it. And we arrived the next morning to the full gamut of Tassie weather. It was wind and rain, and it looked like it was going to snow for a minute. And then we had some sunshine. It was beautiful. I've never been to Tasmania before, so I was really excited to see some new landscapes and some new kind of places, and you know, different animals and trees and all of that stuff. And it proved to be such a beautiful place. Yeah, I really loved it. It was a nice relaxed pace as well, which suits me down to the ground. The band for Tassie was slated to be my good mate Damien Steele Scott, who you will also seen on the Live at the Gov video, on bass, and Mick Skelton on drums. But due to some tour scheduling with Mick's main gig, which is with the iconic Aussie rock band The Baby Animals, he couldn't get back home to Tassie in time to do the first show. So we had another local drummer, Beau fill in, and Beau did such a great job to learn all the songs in a pretty short period of time, and he fit in seamlessly. So thanks, Beau, you nailed it. And so that was our first show with Beau at the Royal Oak in Launceston. Another cool venue which I can't wait to come back to, and a beautiful little town too. I really liked Longley. And then the last show of the leg was at the Longley International Hotel, just outside of Hobart, which is such a beautiful city. Me and Damo were joined by Mick Skelton this time, and it was so much fun. They're such great players, and the Longley's an awesome place. That was a really cool way to wrap up the run. And then the next day we were greeted with a leisurely drive up the centre of Tasmania past the Highland Lakes, which is a really scenic and beautiful spot. Drove through to Devonport and took the ferry back to Geelong. And the next morning in Geelong, I bid farewells to my mate Glenn, and I drove myself back to Adelaide. And now I find myself sitting here a few days post-return after having some much needed rest, and just sit here really grateful with everything that's happened, and thankful for everyone who came out to the shows and all the help I've received along the way, the great musicians, the awesome venues, you know, in what is a really challenging time for live music. And I mean, I'll admit it, we didn't make money on this tour, but that's not what it's about at this point in my career, you know. So as long as everyone I played with gets paid, as long as, you know, that happens, then I'm happy. But it's just about building those audiences in those towns and seeing some new places for me. So I'm very thankful, but I am absolutely chomping at the bit to play next week at the Gov. So if you've seen the video, the last time we played at the Gov, we filmed the gig and it's been watched almost 200,000 times here on YouTube, which is crazy. So if you're in Adelaide, please come to that show at the Gov, as it'll be my last show in Adelaide before I hop on a plane and go to Italy to play my first gigs overseas. Which I still can't wrap my head around that's happening, you know. It's only a few weeks away, which is crazy, you know. I'm very, I honestly can't put into words how blown away I am by this whole experience. So thank you for coming with me on the ride so far. There's plenty more to come, and I hope to see you at a show soon. Much love, Stefan. Cheers.